Yes, this is Buck Malik. This is a version or an edition of Western Wisconsin Journal, and today I'm talking with some folks who are going to be in the 2023 Yellowstone Trail event in Hudson, Wisconsin. Let me give you watchers a picture of the Yellowstone Trail event. It's on Saturday, August 12th this year, 2023. And most of the activities, all of the activities begin down at Hudson's Lakefront Park in the vicinity of the Arch. And most of the activities stay right there, but a few do spread out. There's a poker run, a drive out towards the eastern part of St. Croix County in the afternoon. But in the morning, registration starts at 9 o'clock, and there are three basic categories of antique vehicles that are participating in Yellowstone Trail. I don't know whether I should give you the history of Yellowstone. I don't think I'll give you history about Yellowstone Trail. You can go to the Facebook and look up Hudson Yellowstone Trail and get whatever you want to know about the history. Let's just talk about the cars. For over a decade, British marques such as MG, Triumph, and similar cars that were made in Britain have been having a Britfest on Walnut Street in front of Dick's Bar with the street closed on a Saturday morning. And we continue that tradition this year. Registration starts at 9. The actual show is 10 until 12. The audience can buy tickets for $1 and put a ticket in front of the car they like best. It's what we call a People's Choice kind of contest, for which there'll be some awards given to the owners of those British marques. So that's one category. We usually have about, last year we had 92, the year before we had 97. So we have roughly 100 of those British marques there in the block in front of Dick's Bar on Walnut Street between 1st and 2nd Street. And then we have the Yellowstone Trail eclectic mix of older cars, of which we have an example here today. They will be in the park itself, parked on the grass. Registration is under the arch, essentially, for that. And that's always fun because of the great variety of vehicles that are there. In that, we have a representative of that group today, too, and I'll introduce you to John in a moment and show his vehicle. And the last category are Model A Fords. And for some years now, Model A Fords have been bringing their cars, American cars, of course, to the show, and we have a representative of one of them here today for you to hear from and see an example. Let me start with the Yellowstone Trail car of Linda White, and Linda is here. I guess you have your own microphone, Linda, so you could use it. And Nate, why don't you just pan over and get a picture of Linda's car? Is this the car you're planning to bring to the show, Linda? I know you have several in the family.
This is my 77 Olds Cutlass. I've owned the car for probably 28 years. It's just kind of my daily driver. It's not really a fancy car show car, but
it looks like you've shined it up. Yeah, you keep it waxed, I see. Did you acquire it in any special fashion, Linda?
No.
Just bought it when you saw it, and
yeah.
Did it remind you of something? Does it remind you of something in your history that you are free to talk about?
I'm in need of a car, and I kind of like the older ones. I've had a lot of Cutlasses, so.
Good. Well, people can talk with you about the car and look under the hood and all that if they come to the show.
Yep.
Right? Is there anything else you wanted to say about your car or about the Yellowstone Trail show?
Just that there's no entry fee for the car show. So just bring your old cars and come and enjoy downtown Hudson.
Good. Next, let's talk to John Steenis. He's got this wonderful Jeep here. If you want to give him your mic, Linda. John, tell us about your Jeep.
Sure. This is a 1945 Ford GPW. It was a late World War II Jeep. I actually got this from my grandfather. So he passed away November 11th, 2009. I got it a few years after that, had it restored by a wonderful person in Hastings. Did a wonderful job restoring it. His name's Paul Worth. He is known for his World War II restorations. And actually what's special about that is he started the restoration on November 11th, 2020, on the anniversary of my grandfather's passing. I got it about a year later. I've been bringing it to the Yellowstone Trail car show for several years now. It's a wonderful show. It's a lot of fun to bring this. Other people bring their World War II vehicles as well. So please do come join us. It's a great, great show.
Great. If people want to have their picture taken in it, are you willing to let them sit in it, John?
Sure.
Can they go room and pretend to be running the engine?
No. Well, they can make engine sounds if they
They can
want.
make engine sounds. Yeah, good. Thank you. And then Scott Huberty has got this wonderful Model A here, and he brought some props too. He's got a prop propped against the side. John, if you give him your microphone, then I can hang on to this one, and Scott will have one too. Tell us about your car, Scott.
Be glad to do that. What we've got here is a 1931 Ford Model A Roadster, the deluxe version. The Model A's were produced for 4 years from 1928 through 1931. They come in a variety of styles. As I mentioned, this is a Roadster, and the other versions could be an enclosed car and things like that. About 5 million of these were produced during that 4-year run. And the version I have here is something I obtained back in 2016. I had developed a love for antique cars going back a few years prior to that, and the time was right to get one. It's not something I restored. It's actually an older restoration from about the 1990s. I did not want a project and was able to find this actually over near Woodville, Wisconsin. And I think the person who sold it to me was glad to hear that I was not going to turn it into a hot rod. So I don't have a glorious story of it being a car handed down from one generation to the next, but I am the current caretaker of it and sure enjoy going around to different opportunities like this to show it off. It's a lot of fun. It usually gets a smile, even though I create traffic jams because I go slow.
Now, you usually dress even more picturesquely, as I remember. So if the weather's warm, you're likely to be not only in your straw hat, but in special shorts and shirt and things that are period authentic, aren't you?
Well, yes, indeed. In fact, you could call this, to borrow a term from the TV business, a teaser. I've already got my costume ready for the event, and if you want to see how I show up this time, you better come down to the Yellowstone Trail event.
Oh, that's great.
But I am also representing the Twin City Ford Model A Club. We are a group of Model A enthusiasts that our club numbers about 150 people around the state. We typically get between 12 and 20 cars at the Yellowstone Trail event. It's rapidly becoming a favorite to participate in. And even though we're Model A's, we do invite the Model T's to come along as well. So you might see a few of them.
The T's are younger, is that right?
Yes.
They were made after the A's.
They came before, and that's what's so confusing. The Model Ts were produced for many years, starting approximately 1907. Somebody's going to correct me on that probably.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny story there is, by about 1927, Henry Ford had believed that the Model T had been perfected to the point where there was no need for improvements. And what happened then was he was losing market share to up-and-coming competitors like Pontiac and Chevrolet and those names. And his board of directors finally got on his case, said, "Mr. Ford, we need to do something if you want to keep making money." So he told his son Edsel, come up with a new model finally. And the Model A was developed. Edsel Ford was given credit as the primary designer. So the Model A replaced the Model T only because they were not making as much money from the old T's.
Isn't that a wonderful story?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, folks, I think you're likely to encounter interesting stories like the ones you've heard here from many of the owners who will be at the Yellowstone Trail event. So, come early, stay for the whole thing, prepare to have fun. Feel free to talk with people and ask them questions. Most car owners enjoy talking about their cars, whether it's the mechanicals, which interests me more than many people, or the social aspects of it. Let me just say again, while the rest of you think about anything I might have forgotten to say that's important, we're talking about Saturday, August 12th, 2023, the Yellowstone Trail Heritage Day observation in Hudson, basically at or near the Arch in downtown Hudson's Lakefront Park. Registration of cars is free, as Linda pointed out, starting at 9. The show itself is from 10 until 12. People can start showing the instant they registered. You're absolutely correct. And there will be other ways to participate. We may well have some dancers, as I recall. We're expecting them again this year, doing swing dance and things kind of appropriate to earlier times. So, weather permitting, it'll be a great time. Look forward to seeing you there. Western Wisconsin Journal. Buck Malick speaking.